I'm Charla with Freezer Meals 101. One of the things that stops people from making freezer meals is that they feel overwhelmed. They don't know where to start. They see a video like our 150 freezer meals, which my neighbor Christy and I got together and made recently, and they see the finished freezer and they think, I want that, but there is no way. Like, I don't know where to start. And if that's you, you have come to the right place. Because when I get the question of where should I start, or people saying like, I would love the peace of mind of doing what you do, but I can't do that. That's too overwhelming for me. I completely agree. I don't want you to start with 150 freezer meals. I don't want you to start with 100 freezer meals. I want you to start small so that you get those quick wins and you get the feeling of what it's like to go to your freezer, open it, take out dinner, and not even have to think about what am I gonna make today. And there is an easy way that you can do that that is not overwhelming, does not involve like crazy big shopping lists and big grocery hauls and like days of prep and assembly. And that's what I'm here to show you today. So all you're gonna do is double your dinners for 1 week, just 5 days actually, just the weekdays. So every night next week, you are going to make 2 of whatever you would have made for dinner, and you are going to eat one that night and put the other one in your freezer. Then the next week, you will have an entire week done. It's done. And once you see how easy it was to double those meals, you might decide the next week not to eat those meals, because you might decide to just do another week of doubling your dinners. So that then you have 2 weeks and even more variety to pick from. It's a great way to get started. It's a great way to learn what freezes well, which of your family's favorites you can convert into freezer meals, what works for your family, and it's going to give you that peace of mind and you'll be hooked. And then it won't be as overwhelming to think about doing like 2 weeks at a time or a month at a time, or spending an entire day assembling meals so that you don't have to cook again for a month, because you'll know the feeling of how awesome it is, how much peace of mind it brings to you. So I'm gonna take you through a week, 5 days of me doubling our dinners to fill our freezer, so that we're gonna have the one dinner that night and one will go in the freezer. Now, in my case, I actually have, a lot of meals in my freezer already from that massive 150 freezer meal session. So I've got, the 75, well, maybe I have like 72 left, but you get what I mean. So I'm probably going to be giving my second one away, because I know a lot of families who are really busy and have little ones, and I know a lot of foster and adoptive families, because that's, we used to be foster parents and 5 of our kids are adopted. So I just have a lot of friends that have similar-ish families. And so I know that it would be a blessing for them to have an extra meal. So I will probably be giving some of these away. So I'm gonna tell you what we're gonna make this week. We are going to make a Mexican lasagna. Lasagna is a great one for doubling and freezing, whether it's a vegetarian lasagna, a regular lasagna, Mexican lasagna, whatever. Same with casseroles that are similar, like enchiladas and anything in a layered, like a pasta bake, that kind of thing. Perfect for doubling. Very easy, especially a pasta bake. Like lasagna, you're still gonna have to layer everything. It's still gonna take a little bit of time, but a pasta bake where you just put in the pasta and the sauce and the cheese on top and throw that in your freezer, throw one in the oven, easy peasy. We're also going to make chicken tenders, ranch chicken tenders. My kids are gonna be so happy about that, because I don't like making chicken tenders or chicken fingers or chicken nuggets or anything. Like, I don't like the yuckiness of the breading things, so they love them. So we're gonna make that. And we're going to make spaghetti pie, and that's an easy one to double. And that's a really nice one to give away too. If you know someone who's had a baby or who's going through a hard time or whatever, that's a really easy one because the pie plates are inexpensive to buy, the foil pie plates, and you can buy them in packs of 5. So it's a really nice one, like double, triple, quadruple, whatever, and give some of them away. And we're also going to do, the $1 million stuffed shells that Christy and I were going to do in our massive freezer meal assembly. And then we ran out of one of the ingredients, and we considered having my husband run to the store, but we were so tired that we were like, no, that's it. So we just called it. But we still have the boxes of shells, and we have the pasta sauce, and we have the cottage cheese, and and I went out and got the mozzarella cheese, which was the ingredient that we were missing. And we're gonna get more sausage because the leftover sausage for that we made into other things for the freezer meals. So we're gonna have to cook up some more sausage. But anyway, Christy's gonna come over and we are going to make 2 each, so 4 total, but that way we can each have 1 for our dinner and 1 for our freezer. And today, what I am making for dinner tonight and for in the freezer is this Thai chicken noodle salad. It is one of my favorites. There actually used to be a restaurant that had a Thai chicken noodle salad on the menu, and I would order it whenever I went there, but they took it off their menu many years ago. This one is even better. So I have made this as a freezer meal before because as you make the chicken, you're supposed to marinate it in a bag. That's like the actual recipe. So I will often make the chicken part as a freezer meal. So this is something that I have done over and over and over. So I'm just gonna show you how we're gonna do that. And the actual salad part, I mean, obviously you can't freeze the lettuce and the mint and the, all the things that go in the fresh salad part, and we're not gonna freeze the noodles. So the only part that is gonna help you the day of is you're not gonna worry about your protein because your chicken is going to be marinating as you thaw it from the freezer. It's just gonna marinate all day, be so nice and ready to go. So we're gonna make the dressing, and what we're gonna do is for the one today, I'm just gonna keep the dressing that's left in here and pour it over the salad. For the one that we freeze, we're gonna put the dressing in this little bag. We're gonna staple it onto our bag here, and that will go in the freezer. So the dressing and the chicken will be made, and all you need to do the day of is like quickly cook the noodles. They're like those steam fried noodles, so they quick up really fast. And do your lettuce, and I think like I always do mint leaves and then purple onions, things like that on there, but really the bulk of the work is done for you. So this recipe comes from the Dinner Fix, which is by Sandy Richard. She is my favorite cookbook author. I have adapted a lot of meals from her cookbooks into freezer meals. They don't all adapt, but I have adapted some over the years. And the Mexican lasagna that we're making this week is actually coming from her first cookbook, Cooking for the Rushed. So if you're looking for good cookbooks, those are really good. This one, we are just gonna get going here. So I'm gonna read out the ingredients first and then assemble it. Again, I'm gonna be doubling everything. And then I'll speed up the assembly part so you don't have to watch all that. And then we will get to the other meals later this week. When I compile this video, it'll look like they all got made at the same time, but that's the magic of video. Here we go. So 1 teaspoon sesame oil is going in each of these bags. Push that around to coat the chicken, and then we'll get started on our dressing. So with the dressing, again, you're gonna do half in each bag, and then half will go as an actual dressing. So half of it marinates the chicken, the other half goes on your noodle salad. Okay. Now, 1 tablespoon fresh garlic. We're just gonna use garlic from the jar because it's easy. 2 teaspoons fresh chili sauce. So that's the sambal oelek, and spicy and delicious. You can use less. I'm gonna use more because I like it spicy, but you can use less, of course. And that'll be 4 teaspoons of that. 2/3 of a cup sweet Indonesian soy sauce. So this can be a little hard to find. If you can't find it, you can use honey, extra honey to sweeten, because we're gonna use honey anyway. So that's going in here, and then you're gonna use half a cup of lime juice, and so again, 1 cup, and then 2 tablespoons of honey. I'm just doing math here. My spatial concepts are not good. And I'm realizing that I'm going to need another bowl to mix this in. I was going to mix it right here in the measuring cup, but 1 1/3 cups of sweet soy sauce and 1 cup of lime juice is going to be larger than this measuring cup, and that's not including the other ingredients. So I will grab a bowl to mix this all in, and then we will marinate these, get the dressing going, and 1 meal will be done. Now with freezer cooking, air is the enemy. Air is what gives you that dreaded freezer burn. So whenever you're sealing your bags or your containers or whatever, you need to make sure that you get rid of as much of that extra air as you can. So I'm just getting the air out of this bag. Now with this one, it's not as important because this is just going in my fridge and marinating today. And then I will show you the salad. Take a picture of that before I eat it, if I can wait that long. But yeah, so this one's going in my fridge. These are getting stapled together. I'm gonna use a permanent marker to just write on the bag. I didn't do up labels for this week because I just wanna show you how very easy this can be. So there you have it. Our first doubled meal just took me a few minutes to get that made. And this is the only one of the meals that isn't really like a complete make ahead, because we're only making ahead the protein. So for the other ones this week, you're gonna see how we're gonna make the whole meal. Other than, I guess, with the chicken fingers, you'll have to use a side dish or whatever, but still, I'm just using frozen French fries with mine, so that's about as easy as it gets too. But anyway, there you have it, our first doubled dinner.
Hi, I'm here in Charlotte's kitchen today. We're going to make the $1 million stuffed shells. This was something that we had wanted to make when we did our big freezer meal session, but we ran out of time. No, we didn't run out of time. We ran out of freezer space. And by the time we got to that point where it was time to either cut something or push through, our feet were sore, our hips were sore, and we're like, maybe we'll do the $1 million stuffed shells another day. And there's lots of times where we say, okay, we'll do it another day, and then we don't do it. But I'm actually back in her kitchen. We are actually gonna make the $1 million stuffed shells today. They are great. They fit in your hand. Don't eat them with your hands. I was thinking about how to eat them. That's up to you. No judgment. So they fit in your hand. They're going to have the best Italian party in your mouth kind of ingredients. It's the Italian sausage and tomato sauce and your cream cheese and regular cheese like mozzarella, some sour cream. This is not going to be good for your waistline, but they are going to be delicious. And I'm really looking forward to them. And I'm glad we're back and we actually get to do them.
I think all the cheeses, like the cottage cheese, cream cheese, sour cream, like all that is probably, and the mozza, which is the ingredient we were missing, but now we have
That's
it.
why, you're right,
Yeah.
That's why we stopped. I thought it was our feet.
Oh, that too. Oh my goodness, that was it was the feet, yeah. But I think that is why that's called the $1 million stuffed shells, maybe, because it's like so creamy
it's so rich.
and rich, yeah. So, do you think?
Good calcium.
There you go. Okay, I'm gonna go and fill the pasta, or fill the pot with water for the pasta.
All right, and I'm gonna get the sausage browned and we are gonna get started.
We've got our pasta shells, large pasta shells boiling, and our Italian sausage browning. We're gonna do it in 2 batches. Like, we're gonna double the recipe for the first batch and make that, and then double the recipe again and make 2 in the second batch, because Christy's family likes a little bit milder, so we're gonna use a combination of mild and spicy sausage in hers, and just spicy sausage for our family. So when the sausage was cooked, I drained the fat and I poured in 2 jars of pasta sauce. Again, this is ours, so I used spicy pasta sauce, and for Christie's, I got like a 6 vegetable pasta sauce medley. So I'm stirring that into there, and then we are going to put half of that on the bottom of the 2 pans and reserving the half and saving half for later when our shells are stuffed, and then we're going to top it with this sausage pasta sauce. For the filling for the shells, I'm going to go ahead and mix together the amounts for all 4 recipes or 4 meals, because for that part we're having the same exact ingredients. So this is the cream cheese. So I've got 16 ounces of cream cheese in there, and then I'm gonna go ahead and add 6 cups of cottage cheese, again, because I'm quadrupling. And I'm going to add 1 cup of sour cream and 4 cups of mozzarella. It calls for dried parsley, so I'll probably add that, but I'm also going to add some fresh basil because I have some, and this is an Italian recipe and I don't see why that wouldn't taste amazing. So that's going in there too. So we've layered some of that pasta sauce in the bottom of these 2 trays. I'm using like 1 specific for the freezer and 1, although you can like freeze, if you have a glass baking dish or whatever, you can freeze that too. So sometimes I do that, but I don't want that to be held hostage in my freezer because I might need it for something else. So anyway, and then I've got 1 that I'm just doing right into like a nice casserole dish because that is gonna go in our oven tonight for supper. So I just stuffed a shell, my very first stuffed shell. I think this is gonna be a bit of a messy job, but at least it's not super gross, like touching raw chicken or anything like that, or touching raw beef, that's the worst. So I think this is gonna go pretty quickly. I was worried that it would take forever to stuff these shells, but they are stuffing nicely. I think you can also pipe them in, like you can put your filling in a bag, zip top type bag, and then slice an end off and then squeeze it through the bag, or in like a large icing decorator bag. But I'm just going to be spooning these in, and I think it's going pretty quickly and it will be done in no time. Now this is another great example of that many hands make light work. So if you have a friend to do this with, then it's just gonna go twice as fast, or you can enlist your kids, your wife, your husband, whatever, to help you get these stuffed, because it really does go faster. I am so thankful that I've got Christy to do the freezer meals with me, because it just makes the time fly when you have another person there to visit with and laugh with and have fun with. And I mean, obviously it does make the work go faster too, because you've got extra hands, but more than that, it just keeps your spirits up and just helps things to just go so smoothly. So if you are fortunate enough to find someone in your area that will do freezer meals with you, you will not be sorry. Now we used sausage in our pasta sauce for these, but you could use ground beef, you could use turkey, or you could make them vegetarian either by skipping the meat altogether or by using a veggie beef. Like the Eve's Ground Round is my favorite, and they do have an Italian flavored one, or you could use the regular. Or really, these would be nice just meatless. Good meatless Monday meal. My kids love chicken fingers, like love, love, love. And they often want to get them from fast food because I don't make them very often. And I don't like to buy the store-bought frozen ones because I know that I can make them myself. So today I'm going to give my kids a surprise and make them some homemade chicken fingers, which they're gonna be really excited about. I've done it before, but I don't like the textural part of touching all the icky things. So that's why I don't make them very often. But anyway, so I have more than doubled the recipe. So we're gonna have them tonight, just like chicken fingers and fries, as easy as it gets. And just frozen fries from the grocery store. So really easy, but it calls for 3 chicken breasts per recipe. And I usually make them for the freezer specifically. But tonight I'm making like 1 set for dinner and 1 set for the freezer. And I did 8 chicken breasts, so I a little more than doubled it because just I know that in our family, like they're gonna get eaten and these will not go to waste. So the trick is for the ones for the freezer, we are going to put them on trays and freeze them flat and then add them into the freezer bags. That way, if my kids want to pull out just some and have like some heated in the oven, they won't be sticking together and they'll be just really easy. Even if you want to pull out the whole bag or whatever, they won't stick together. So you can easily put them on your cookie sheet and bake them. So that's why I'm going to freeze them raw first, flat on a cookie sheet, and then transfer them into a freezer bag. So anyway, let's get started. It's a ranch chicken tenders. I will put the recipe in the description box below. Like I said, it's designed to be a freezer meal, but of course you can make it fresh and have it that day. So we've got some beaten eggs, some flour mixed with ranch seasonings and dry ranch powder, and our breadcrumbs. And then I've gone ahead and sliced up these 8 chicken breasts. And now is the icky part. But just wondering if I should do it with gloves because I'm not gonna love this. Yeah, I'm going to grab gloves and see how that goes. These are kind of giant for my hands, so I'm not sure how long I will last with them. I might get just, I might decide to just do it without. But I'm gonna start with this and be less grossed out. So, got our raw chicken, dip it in the egg, then we're gonna dip it in the flour mixture, and then again in the egg, and then in the breadcrumbs, and then over on the cookie sheet. So here we go. I'm really glad I used the gloves. Even with the gloves, I had to wash them quite a few times because they got so thick and gross. So anyway, if you don't get bothered by icky things on your hands, you just go right ahead, use your hands and have some fun with it. Maybe your kids will like to help because it'll be like a sensory experience for them. Whatever, it's just not my favorite thing, but I do like to make my kids happy. I love to feed them things they like. So we've got this tray of ranch chicken tenders that are going into the freezer so that I can put them in a freezer bag, and this will be great for other days. And it's so nice to have them in there. And then this one is going in the oven for dinner tonight, and I'm gonna just easily put another tray of fries and everybody will be thrilled. This Mexican lasagna recipe is probably my husband's single favorite meal. I've been making it for forever, since the year this cookbook came out, and I don't know what year that was, but I don't know, 15, 18 years, whatever, long time. So I'm making it with Mexican veggie beef, and that is how I always do it. So you can obviously make it with real beef, but I will tell you, it is better with the Mexican veggie beef. And it's meatless, and it's just got the flavors in there that it doesn't have if you just use ground beef. The reason I know this is because I used to serve this a lot when we had company over for supper, and they would then ask for the recipe, and when they made it on their own, they would call me and say, it didn't taste the same as yours. It wasn't as good. It wasn't, the flavors weren't quite there. What did I do wrong? And the difference, of course, is just that they were using regular ground beef. So I highly suggest that you use the Mexican ground round. But I like to brown my veggie beef because I find that it gives it a better texture, especially for people who aren't used to eating veggie beef. So we're gonna ground the veggie beef, we're gonna add onions, and then we're gonna continue with this recipe. This recipe is the one that I was telling you about that's from Sandy Richard's cookbook, Cooking for the Rushed. And that cookbook helped me learn to cook, really. It was the first thing that gave me confidence in cooking. And she includes side dishes in a lot of the recipes, and the timing, like when you start this, then do this, or then put this on, put the water on to boil at this point, that kind of thing. So it just really helped me to learn how to cook. So again, she's my favorite cookbook author. I will link to some of her cookbooks in the description down below. So in this recipe, there is your ground beef or your veggie beef, and onion, a can of green chilies, a can of cheddar cheese soup, which I know sounds kind of gross, and I was a little grossed out the first time too, but the taste is so good that I quickly got over that. Then you're gonna have a cup of salsa, half a cup each of cheddar cheese and mozza cheese. And you're gonna mix that all in your skillet. Of course, we're doubling this. So I've got, I'm doubling all those cans and doubling all the ingredients. And then you're gonna layer this mixture with the lasagna noodles, but you're gonna use the oven ready lasagna noodles. And so those make it the oven ready noodles. So the oven ready noodles mean that you don't have to cook them first. So you're gonna put a small layer of this mixture down, and then you're gonna do a layer of the noodles, and then you're going to do a third of the sauce, and then another layer of noodles, a third of the sauce, and then another layer of noodles. Then you're gonna drizzle 2/3 of a cup water on top and top it with another half cup of cheddar and half cup of mozza, and cover it with foil and bake it. However, the one that is going in the freezer, you're gonna skip that last step of drizzling it with water. So you're still gonna top it with the cheeses at the end. And for the cheese, it says half mozza, half cheddar. Sometimes I just use a Tex-Mex blend if I have that, or today I'm kind of using up some of my remnants of cheese. So I'm using some mozza, some Tex-Mex, probably use some habanero cheese in one of them. So I'm just kind of using what I have. But for the one that you're putting in the freezer, you're gonna skip the water step. So on the day that you go to bake it, you'll take it out of the freezer, let it thaw, then you're gonna take the foil off, drizzle that 2/3 of a cup water on top, put the foil back on, stick it in the oven, and it will come out just the way you want it. So as easy as that, we are going to have 2 dinners. And what I'm gonna do for the side dish of the one that we are eating this week is this side dish that they recommend in the cookbook, which is kind of an avocado salad. If you decide to try this Mexican lasagna, let me know what you think, because it truly is one of our favorites. out of sheer curiosity, I flipped to the front of the cookbook to see when it was published, and it was published in the year 2000, and that's the year I started cooking from this cookbook. So it is beaten up at this point. It is well used, but that means that I have been cooking this Mexican lasagna for over 20 years, which sounds crazy to say, but it's apparently true. So the last recipe I'm gonna make for our doubling your dinners to fill your freezer week is spaghetti pie. When my kids were younger, I used to make this a fair bit. I have not made it in years, but I was thinking about this week and recipes that would double well and that would kind of show you how you can just take your own recipes and adapt them into freezer meals. So I thought this one would work really well, and I think I'm right. So I cooked up some ground beef and added some pasta sauce and spices into that. So I've kind of created the topping, and then I have cooked and drained my pasta, and to the spaghetti noodles we're gonna add some 2 beaten eggs, 2 because I'm doubling the recipe. I will link the recipe down below so that you can grab the full recipe, but we're gonna add some Parmesan cheese, some butter, and some eggs into that, and then we're going to kind of create this crust with our spaghetti. Top that with our ground beef spaghetti sauce mixture thingy, and then we're going to top it with mozza cheese. You bake it, and then you actually cut it like a pie, so it's literally like spaghetti pie. And the kids used to think it was pretty fun. We also used to make a cheeseburger pie that they liked, and I think that would actually double well too. Anyway, let's get this thing going. I hope that I've inspired you to try to take on this challenge of doubling your regular family meals for a week and using the extras to fill your freezer. I think once you do that, you're gonna discover the freedom that freezer meals bring, and you'll be hooked. If you're looking for tips, ideas, and recipes for everything freezer cooking, then I invite you to subscribe. I'd love to have you join me again. And if you now find yourself hooked on freezer meals, I'm just gonna leave you this video here that has lots of make ahead lunch ideas to make those weekdays even easier. Thanks for joining me today, and happy cooking.